Hey, welcome to this edition of Peep Show Talk, number 13. And normally, people think of the number 13 as something unlucky, although I was born on the 13th. And did you ever stay in a hotel where they don't have a 13th floor, but everyone knows that there's not a 13th floor? So anyway, I digress. So today we have General Taylor Surplus, and I'm excited, new up and coming vendor on the scene, and we have Derek and Taylor from them. So
hi
everybody.
So you guys are a fairly new business. How did you get going in this?
Well,
so Derek has always been into World War II Jeeps, and I kind of embraced the crazy. And we had a friend who we actually bought our parts from for our Willys that we built. And he is slowly decided he wanted to get out of the business, and he had approached or mentioned to a few people that he wanted to sell. So we kind of talked it over, and Derek was a little off of it. Like, he wasn't sure if he wanted to purchase it, and I really could care less. Like, we'll make it work. If we fail, we fail, and if we succeed, we succeed. Let's just see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided, he approached it. It was Phil Nelson's.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Indiana. And he decided that, you know what, let's do it. I said, all right, we'll do it. And it was an impulse buy. And we moved a 4,000 square foot warehouse in 28 days.
21 days.
21. With a lot of help from family and friends, and moved it to Norton, Ohio. And now we're selling out of our garage and a rented shop that we have right now.
I think I bought my first Jeep part from Nelson Surplus probably in about 1998. So when I first got my GPW, I just bought, I had like a $300 budget, and I bought $300 worth of parts for like a year and a half. And I think my first part came from Nelson's.
Outstanding.
So, okay.
Yeah. Phil and Judy Nelson, about 5 years ago, I acquired a 1944 Willys Jeep. Some friends of mine knew I found one on Craigslist, and I didn't have the money at the time to buy it, so they approached me. And they're very big in the Jeep world. They have 15 Jeeps, not just military, but all sorts of CJs and YJs. So Brian Kassler is the one that approached me, and his dad Jim, and they drove down there and got the Jeep and brought it back to their barn. And Brian started college full time, and he was joining the Army. And he approached me almost a year later and says, "Hey, do you want to buy that Jeep?" And it was like the perfect mothballed World War II Jeep. I mean, U.S. Marine Corps on the side of it. It was gorgeous. And I had the money then, and they delivered it to my house. And that's when I really fell in love with Jeep parts and learning about something I've never done before in my life. And that's how I met Phil Nelson, because he was so close. I would drive out there and buy from Phil quite a bit. And then we just became real close. And then jokingly, about a year ago, he goes, "You should buy this business off me." And I just, I have my full-time career firefighter paramedic, and I also work for another fire department part-time. So I'm like, how can I squeeze this into my crazy life?
In your free time.
And I think what really drove me driving this business home actually was working my part-time job. I responded to a double fatal car wreck within a half mile from where I live on my road. And I knew the female that passed away, and I thought about it, and I'm like, well, maybe it's time for me to just focus on one career fire job, and maybe I can buy this parts business, and Taylor and I can make something out of it. And I think that's really what drove me and impelled me to buy the business, is after seeing that, I just said, it's, I see it enough in my full-time, really don't need to do a part-time. However, I still work part-time right now for them. But that's kind of what that's kind of what started the fire. And
What kind of a schedule do you have with the fire department? Like, is like an every third day kind of thing, or?
yeah, yeah. So it's a 24/48, and then every 4 cycles or 96 hours, you get 5 days off.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually work 24 hours a week at my part-time fire job as well. So my schedule could be anywhere between 76 hours and 96 hours a week, depending on how they schedule me. And then in between there, we're working on the business.
Right, right.
So,
Awesome.
but I'm still learning. Taylor and I are learning stuff every day. We're always researching parts. I've got TM manuals. I've got about 500 TM manuals that I'm getting into and resourcing those, and lots of friends. So we are very, very, green to this business.
Mm-hmm.
But I've met some extraordinary people, and people that just have the same passion that we do. And I really enjoy doing this. Like, I personally enjoy it. Um, I've started to rebuild generators and starter motors and sell them as refurbished parts, and I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a lot of fun. It's therapeutic. I think it's very therapeutic, and what we have, I think, is kind of a rarity too, because Phil, he got into this business very early when he was buying surplus parts from the government, and he was buying it per pound um, from the naval station out in New Jersey. So basically, if you'd like me to get into a little bit of history about how he would do it, is it was a sealed bid. So
Mm-hmm.
he would get, a manifest in the mail. This is what I have, and then Phil would mail the bid in. And then if he got the bid, he'd take his box truck and he'd drive out there and he'd pick it up. And he had a very old box truck that he'd pick it up and he'd haul it back, and then he would sort the parts, and then he would start marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Phil, he was like the pioneer in Ohio for the MVPA as well. He was like one of the first people, one of the first grandfathers to start, the Ohio chapter. And he's just very, very extraordinary man. And the knowledge he's gained over the last 50 years is just amazing. And
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that Taylor and I gain that knowledge too in this industry and help people. I would say that 95 to 96% of our parts are original military surplus. Very few are reproductions. I just ran into some reproduction things recently, but it wasn't anything crazy. Most of them are takeoff parts. We do have new old stock, but that's very limited. So what we're going to try to do, and what I'm going to try to do, is start refurbing the takeoff parts and just selling them as refurbed to the public.
Mm-hmm.
That way they still get original piece, and they're primed, and they can just paint them whatever color green they want to and put them on their vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I talked to Steve Art, he said that Dave Butler, recognized when he started Vintage Power Wagons that there was a pretty narrow window that was going to start closing soon for getting these parts from the government. And, this was probably the most efficient and cost effective way to build your stock. And so he bought as much as he could as early as he could. So
That's what Phil did. Phil did the same thing. And he, it is unbelievable how many parts we actually have. And when
Parts we know and
parts
we
we
don't
know
know.
and parts we don't know.
parts is parts.
We Phil had a partner that helped him with the business, and unfortunately his partner died about 9 years ago. And I think when it's hard for us to run a business, and I can only imagine what it's like for a guy who's in the 70s by himself to run a business. And Phil and Judy really blessed us with this business. They truly did, and we are very honored and proud to be able to supply some of these parts, because you're not going to find original parts like this. And when I'm in a warehouse and we're going through stuff, because nothing's organized. I mean, I'm thinking it takes me about a whole day to sort one box because I have emissary stuff and GPW stuff and MB stuff, but it just blows my mind what's in what we're finding. It's unbelievable. I know I found a handful of those F-scripted GPW gas pedals. I mean, I was like a little kid in a candy store opening up that box, and I'm like, this was boxed at the, Louisville plant, and wow, it's amazing, truly amazing. And I think Taylor's starting to catch on. She definitely supports me, and she's my backbone, and that's one of the reasons why we chose to name it General Taylor, because she is the backbone. I might be the face, but at the end of the day, everything goes through the general. So when you're on the computer ordering parts, you're actually not talking to me, you're talking to the general. So I'm more the boxing, sorting, refurbing, and
the best is when
researching.
Other customers are like, "Yeah, I have to check with the wife first."
Yeah,
I'm like, I
understand how that goes. Kitchen sticks.
I get it. I'm like, I am the wife. Like,
sink house.
Yeah. So we started the business, and we just decided that General Taylor's was kind of a catchy name, because it would kind of throw people off. Well, does he mean Maxwell Taylor, from World War II, or is his name Taylor? And
they have no idea that it's really female run.
So Taylor will go over kind of like the business card on what it stands for here. So
So Andrew's wife, Leah Lang did our card for us pretty quick, because we weren't really sure what we wanted, but we wanted the Jeep logo, and then we had the stars incorporated for our children, for all 4 of them, and we wanted something simple that people can see and know. It's nothing too complicated, and
I like it.
Yeah,
very just simple and to the point.
And the back of it, we put a picture of our Jeep, and it's not really to say like, oh, here's my Jeep. It's to let the customer know that, hey, this is your end goal right here. This is what you want to accomplish. And if I can do it, and I knew nothing about restoring a vehicle. I mean, I didn't know anything. Shoot, I just figured out how to change my brakes like 5 years ago. Okay. But anybody can do this. It just takes effort. And, all my videos is, hey, put an hour a day into your project. And I restored that vehicle in 18 months, frame off. And I knew nothing about restoration work.
It wasn't the smoothest 18 months.
It wasn't the smoothest
the family, months, but
stuff happens.
And this is before like Frontline came out, but honest to God, the guy that helped me through the most of it, and I'm gonna throw his name out there, is Scott Schiller with the G503 stuff. He single, like, those videos. There's no way I could have got this done without those videos. Like, he was on it, and then him and I became real close. And I finally got to meet him last year in person. But those videos, man, and Patrick Tipton's videos on welding, because I knew nothing about welding until I started watching Patrick's videos, and he doesn't even know who I am, but Pat, just thank you. Those guys, that's how my Jeep ended up the way it is, and we put the Jeep on the back, so the customers know this is your end result. This is what we want you to accomplish, and we're going to help you do it. And I always say this too about, original parts, reproduction parts. It's all about money and time. Okay. If you don't have the money to buy original parts, personally, it's okay, because down the road, when you're driving it, all people are going to see is an amazing World War II Jeep.
They don't know details.
They're not going to know that your hood latch is reproduction. Only you're going to know that, and somebody that's in the hobby. And that's why I tell all our customers, our prices are, they are what they are. But it's, to me, if you can't afford that, it's okay to buy reproduction parts. No one's going to know the difference, And
you just have to understand, I think most people in the hobby do, that NOS and takeoff parts, if you want something original, it's not like we can go out and make more.
Yeah, we can't. Once they're gone, they're gone.
Right.
And surprisingly, since we started the business, we've actually went through quite a bit of stock on our GPW parts. So I started really push M series because that's what I've been finding. But the original parts they're dwindling very quickly. So
And because when we took over Nelson's, there was no organization, there was no manifest of what he had.
Yeah.
He had no idea. We had no idea.
Yeah.
So all the people who came and helped us box everything up were just throwing stuff in and getting out because we told them we'd be out by a certain deadline. So we were just throwing things in.
Right.
And we might find GPW parts mixed in with Mighty Might stuff.
Or mixed in with tank stuff.
Like, we don't know.
So we don't
I
know.
don't know.
That's why it's a hard spot where we're at right now, because we don't know, like, we know what we have, but at the same time, we don't have an exact number.
I mean,
and there are parts, like, we don't know some things, we don't even know where to price them at. And
people are asking us, like, how many parts do you have? And if you were to break everything down, and I'm not exaggerating, I mean, if you were to break every single gauge, every single latch, every single transmission part down, I would venture out there and say we have probably 4 million parts. Wow. That's no joke. So we're doing our best to get the product out to you guys and to the public, and but it's just us run the business. So it might
right. Well, and one of the things is, there's a certain set of like founding father vendors who've really got this thing going, and they're aging out, much like Nelson's did, and there's some others that are kind of coming up on that have very successful, thriving businesses, and and someone else picking up the helm and moving forward is going to be really important for the hobby in the future. Now, you're probably just working mostly with the stock that you have, but then is your long-term plan to then kind of fill that out with newer parts? Or
I think my plan on our plan is we will be in the parts business for quite a long time with what we have already. But our plan is to, in the future, probably acquire more parts, original parts, and then source those out.
We're not in the game to buy more original right now.
Yeah, because we have so much,
we have
but
more than what we can like
handle.
Well, you got to get a return on your investment too.
Yeah. You do.
And once we like get through that, then we'd like to buy more original parts and start looking for more.
I personally enjoy like selling the original stuff, just because, somewhere down the road, GI, one of our grandfathers or great uncles, they might have touched that part. And my family has a huge World War II lineage. Both grandfathers served. One was a combat engineer, the other was a medic. My uncle Steve was a paratrooper in 82nd Airborne Division. He jumped in Normandy, survived the bulge, came home, worked at Cyberlane Tire and Rubber here on Barberton that produced tires for the Jeeps during the war and through Korea. And funny thing, not to get sidetracked, but when I was going through Nelson's, I found a Cyberlane tire, original NOS tire, for the M38, and I have it hanging in my barn because I'm like, I wonder if my Uncle Steve touched this at some point. But
that's cool.
And my Uncle Al was a tank commander in the 3rd Armored Division. He was blowing out of 3 tanks. He had 4 Purple Hearts. He lost 2 crews. He fought in Africa. That was his first campaign, and then he ended up in Europe. And I turned around. I served 8 years in the Army. And I deployed to Kosovo in 2006, 2007. It was a peace enforcement mission between the ethnic Albanians and Serbs. And it really opened my eyes to the world and cultures. And I'm personally proud to be able to serve in the European conflict. And I think that really drew me to World War II parts. Honest to God, like, maybe my grandfather touched this part, or maybe my uncles touched this part, or maybe somebody else's family member touched these parts, and now now you're getting them back.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what was your MOS?
11 Bravo Infantry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, why don't we go ahead and look at your Facebook page? And right now you're selling, like, tell people how you actually are advertising right now.
So we've gone back and forth. Right now we have the business page that most people can see. And then in the business page, there's a link to go to the VIP page where we're listing items for sale.
Mm-hmm.
We started out with an albums page, but not a lot of people like were getting the hang of it. So we took a poll and asked customers what they prefer, and we started listing them almost like online shops do, or boutiques, or however other places are doing it, to where we'll post a price, we'll post a price on the picture, what the item is, and a few pictures with it. And then you can see it notifies customers when an item's posted, and you can turn those notifications on or off. And it also is just very to the point. So that's how we're doing it Facebook wise. We do on our VIP page and on our business page, we have a link to the eBay store, which is what we also have going. I made sure that on the VIP page, it's pinned at the top of the page when you first start scrolling, almost as an announcement. That way you can click that link easily.
Okay.
If people see stuff on our eBay page, they message us and we'll pull it and sell it to them. And like if we have multiple quantities or whatnot, we'll sell it on without using eBay, because eBay is a pain. And it can, I mean,
yeah, they just take too much of your revenue.
They do. And when we're trying to get money back from what we invested into this, it's like, you know what, if we have the availability, we're not going to like take it from a customer, but if we can do it like that, yeah, we will. And we've had a couple people who've been with us since like when we first started posting things right away. Like as soon as we took over the business, before we were out of there, we were posting items just to try and start turning a little bit of a revenue to break even.
Yeah.
Right. So we've had people who are like, hey, I saw this on your page. And if we have it, yeah, let me know and we'll just alter the quantity. And but we're trying to make it as easy as possible, because like I said earlier, we don't know the quantities that we fully have.
Yeah.
Right now we might have 10 of something, and then we sell out and find a box and we have 30 of it now.
Or we sell out and we don't find it. So I had a bunch of tower levers that were new old stock, and I had 5 good ones and they sold, and I've been searching for them because I've had a high demand for them and I can't find any. So that's just some of the stuff that, hey, it's like once they're gone, they're gone.
But we might find them again later. We might not. It's just, if anyone
right now, it sounds like it's just a bit of a scavenger hunt.
It is. It really is.
We are literally taking, like, when a Jeep guy goes to like, oh, I found this really good honey hole for Jeep parts, and you have to go and dig with a flashlight. It's dark and you don't know what you're getting into, but you have to search.
Yeah.
We're doing that for you.
Yeah.
Because that's what we took over.
Yeah. Sometimes they want a very rare part, and I have like a wish list for it keeps growing. And I try to keep that wish list in the back of my mind and on paper. And if I run across that part, I mean, sure, I'll make sure you get it. But I mean, when I say looking for a needle in a haystack, that's basically, what we're looking for when we're there. And I try to pull, 3 boxes and try to sort them and then clean them up, organize. If I can refurbish the part, I'll try to refurbish the part and prime it, so you just paint it whatever color you want. And sometimes I just sell it as is. I mean, for instance, these are are you able to see, Tim?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want me to stop screen sharing?
No, keep definitely keep screen sharing. But we just found a bunch of new old stock fuel gauges the other day, and I mean, they're NOS. Here we go. And now I have to find the back piece, I've got to find, the nuts, and I don't want to sell it like this, but I can. But then it takes a while to find, the correct, for instance, the correct, mounting bracket and backing
Right.
and stuff. And
Or then you find a box with a bunch of those in there that are much harder to sell. So
and then I got to test them all. And then like this one failed. So it's got an X on it. So, I'll sell it for parts, I'll still sell it, but it'll be for parts. And I know these can be rebuilt. There's people that are good enough to do it, but I'll still sell it, but it'll be very inexpensive versus buying one, NOS.
Mhm.
But, we picked up some nice NOS oil pressure gauges too. And,
Beautiful.
great shape. So, but it's just Taylor and I, and we're trying, and this, I was talking to Daryl Bensinger recently. We talked, and being an entrepreneur and being in this business, I've gained a lot of respect for the industry, and especially for the owners, because this job is not 9 to 5. This is a 24/7 job. When we're sleeping at night, people in Europe are waking up and they're ordering parts. And you might go to bed and wake up, and you'll be like, oh my God, there's 30 orders waiting that need to go to 7 different countries. And you're just and when it's just Taylor and I, we try our best to get it out as quick as possible and move the product out. But just talking to Daryl, I've had a huge respect for people in this industry. Just when you're an entrepreneur and you're starting off, I now know, the type of hardships and sleepless nights, and just your eyes are burning because you're sorting parts for people. And then sometimes you have people that they want to talk about a product for over an hour, and
Right.
you discuss it. And as a business owner, you want to show them every detail of the part, and it takes an hour out of your time. And then that customer might turn around and say, I don't want it. And then you kind of get a little discouraged because that was an hour, that you wasted.
Mhm.
But you just move on, and you just keep going, because
we're running this business when he's
Yeah.
working and on our
Yeah.
days off. So like when people are like, oh, well, let me see this and this and this, you
Yeah.
want to make sure you give them a quality product. But it's like this was our day off, and we chased this around for you because you've been asking, and we got it. And then they're like, oh, well, I found one cheaper. I'm going to do this. Okay.
so it's
Part of being a
Mhm.
business
it's part
owner.
of being a
but
business owner, and that's
one of the
why
worst.
we gained a lot of respect, for people that have been in this industry for a long time, like Peter DeBella, I mean, and Daryl Bensinger and Ron Fitzpatrick.
I get
and,
why Peter is the way he
yeah,
is.
John
Like how
Bazal.
he's very to the point.
Yeah, I get it why you're very to the point over the phone sometimes, because you're busy, and we're really trying to turn these products over. But we also want to make each customer, feel important, because they are important to us. I don't want to shy somebody away. We definitely, I want you to know what we have, and I want you to know, you know, what we have and what the prices are, and if we could better serve you.
Yeah, when you're in that situation like you're in now, you have 3 masters. You have your normal job, you have your family, and then you have your business. And
Yeah.
when one is going well, the other 2 are probably suffering a little bit.
Yeah, they say, yeah. The we have 4 children, and sometimes we're Taylor and I are. There's been days that my wife and I have worked 12 hours nonstop, and she'll take a break and make lunch for the kids, and I'll be out in the garage pulling orders, or painting parts, or marketing parts, and boxing stuff up, and it's a lot of work, but it is fun, and the knowledge you gain
Mhm.
is amazing. I learn something new every day. I'm not a genius or an expert when it comes to this stuff. The people that are in this hobby, they're the experts, and they help us out. I mean, I've had messages on eBay, hey, just to let you know, Derek, with what you have, this actually for this vehicle. And I really appreciate that, because I don't want to sell you the wrong part.
I would rather someone message us to let us know.
I truly appreciate. Yeah, we don't. I just try my best to research the part and then research the price of the part and what they're going for, and try to find a happy medium to where we're able to sell you a good product.
Mm-hmm. So what percentage of the boxes have you been through right now? And right now we're talking at the end of January 2022. For people who watch this like 2 years from now.
Well, what's that?
20% maybe.
What
for how much we've gone through?
Oh, what, from the warehouse?
I think, yeah.
Not even 20%. 3%.
That's what we've gone through.
What we've brought to our garage.
Or how much have you sorted? I guess that's a better way of saying it. So how much is still unknown out there?
Yeah, about 10% we've sorted. The goal for this year is to actually expand our pole barn at our house and bring a lot of the product here. Right now, we have a warehouse close to us that we have everything in. And we would like to expand the pole barn and bring more product here so it can be organized better. Mm-hmm. So I'm not driving to and from the warehouse. I'd like the warehouse to be here at our house. And it just so happens that our fine city zoned my property commercial about 4 years ago.
Oh, cool.
So I can own and operate a commercial business out of my property, which is pretty cool. So that's the end result, is to have all the products here, and that would allow us to sort it better. I can walk 20 feet behind my house and boom, there it is. But the products are, it's really hit or miss on things. I mean, I found cut V parts, I found Humvee parts, I found 5-ton parts, CCKW parts, Chevrolet parts, and those I haven't really advertised yet because I just haven't had the time, but I'll get them out. Tank parts, Stewart tank parts, Sherman tank parts, half track parts, Dodge M37 parts, M38, M38A1, M151. What's the Mighty Mite? The M1? I don't know, whatever the Mighty Mite is, but I've got a lot of Mighty Mite parts, and I haven't even been able to market those yet because everybody is in this business so far. They're keeping us pretty busy,
right?
With just what we
spread our business, like starting it spread very fast.
Yeah, and we're excited.
We are thrilled, but Derek nor I really knew how to run a business, and we're still learning. And we don't have like a lot of family close by that can help us. So it's. When he's working, he's getting messages, I'm getting messages. We're trying to communicate between us so that we're not missing anything. And we're trying to make sure everybody gets their stuff. But at the same time, Derek knows the parts.
Yeah.
Derek's side of this is the sorting and the part knowledge and the customers. I am great at communicating behind the screens. I can post anything. I'm great with figuring out technology. I've got like shipping down. I am great with that side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not. I told him, I was like, I will not be the face because I'm not great with people. I am not a fan of people. He can handle people. I can't. So I'm great though at communicating behind the screen.
Oh, hi, Cat.
Yeah, it's not a Zoom call unless a cat walks in the middle.
That's right. You gotta have a cat.
But yeah, so he does that, and if he's at work, a lot of his, I don't know cars. I'm a female. I really don't, but I'm trying. So if it's something that I know and can help a customer with right away, I absolutely do. But if he knows where it's at and he knows the part, then he can let me know and I can pull it.
I've started to get into the warehouse and kind of like move stuff in sections. So like I have a drive shaft section and a transmission section. Now the drive shaft section, there's M series and MB, it's just all there. Mm-hmm. But I've tried to start sorting my drive shafts, my propellers, the transmission parts. So I have a go-to spot, but it's still to break everything down. it's going to take, this is a 24-month project minimum to at least get organized to the point to where I can say, hey, I know it's over here. Hopefully when we get the building built here on the property in the next, hopefully we can do it over the summer. It'll be a lot easier. I can say, hey, first shelf, row A right here, part number, whatever. That would be the ultimate goal. But with Taylor and I we're really just trying to stay above water and balance everything. And
so do you have like a series of like a box of stuff you're like, no one knows what the hell this is?
We have a few of those.
I have a lot of those. I just actually sent Daryl a message the other day. I'm like, hey man, like, do you know what these are? They're military. And he looks at it and he goes, I have a part number. And I said, yeah. And he goes, I don't have a clue. I'm like, oh.
A lot of guys who have been in the business have
Yeah.
been really helpful
They
in
have.
helping us to
Yeah,
identify
they
parts.
have. Ron Fitzpatrick has
buddy.
been great. He's helped me out a lot. Just helped me and just coaching me along. Daryl and I got close. One, he's in Pennsylvania. I'm in Ohio. We're right next door. Those two guys have really come and confronted me and said, hey, Derek, we want to see this business grow. And we really appreciate that, especially being young. Taylor and I, this isn't like a 5-year pop-up business, and
It was an impulse buy, 100%.
This is we're gonna be in this business for a very long time. So as these guys retire out, and I'm not saying they are right now, but eventually everybody retires.
Right. They need to have an exit strategy.
Yeah.
Or they just die and the business becomes,
exactly
goes into a big auction.
Yeah. And Phil and Judy, they're still in business. They still have parts. They're still, Phil's still doing stuff, but
we only took over one building.
Yeah, we took one building. So they still have a building full of parts, but we're down the road, I think that as age happens, I think that we're going to see a lot of consolidation throughout the United States and military vehicle parts. I think it's only, this is my projection, is once, very few people have the drive to do this. When you look at the entire United States, somebody asked me the other day, what do you do? I say, I sell military vehicle parts. And I looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, is that a thing? I'm like, yeah, no way. Yeah, no, it definitely is. We have quite a bit of parts, but I see a lot of consolidation in the future. I heard recently that somebody bought somebody out west. I don't know who it was.
Surplus City was one that was out
there.
Surplus
City was one. And I think we're going to see a lot of that in the next 20 years with guys aging out. I mean, I'm 35 now. My goal is to retire from the fire service at 57 and continue this business till I'm about 64. And then I'm selling whatever I have left. The next guy can buy it all, because I want to enjoy life with Taylor and our family. But still, I mean, I've got 25 years dedication to this business. So they've been there helping me a lot. Daryl, he reached out to me and says, hey, this is my number. If you have any questions, call me. And Ron did the same thing. And I want to thank both of them for just reaching out. And Phil's been there for us.
Yeah, we talked to him
every step of the way. Phil and I talked for about 40 minutes last week, and I told him everything I was doing, refurbishing generators and axle shafts and drive shafts, and he was really excited about that, because he said, when I got in the industry, Derek, I didn't have time to refurbish stuff. I mean, it was moving as fast as I was getting it. So, I'd sell a drive shaft and the axle would be painted red or whatever, it said an F script on it, and that's how the part would come. But I'm like, well, now I'm, sandblasting it and cleaning the face up and painting them green and, taking all the rust off. So, when the person orders a part, it's at least better than what I found it. And even though I might paint it a different color green, it's something's better than nothing. So, and that
I
goes
think
for
it makes
a lot of
it
our parts.
appeals though too for
I think it does
customers,
too. I think it appeals to the customer
because
too.
there's some customers that get into it like Derek and I did, where he had no idea how to build Jeeps. No idea.
Yeah.
And it's an expensive hobby. So I
Yeah.
think having the part done makes it look more doable as well for someone who's not mechanically inclined with that stuff.
Yeah.
Or it shows up and it's rusty, and the wife's like, "You just spent $150 on this."
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
there's definitely an education process I've had with my girlfriend, because she's looking at, when I bought my slat, she's looking and go, "Oh man, that's all rusty." I'm like, no. Like, okay, remove the rust and it's all there.
All there.
And so are you guys going to do shows? Are you planning to go to MVP in Indiana?
This is a
Not too far from me.
this is a funny thing. Dave Dorson, who taught me a lot about restoration, he lives in Hudson, Ohio. He's built over 20 Jeeps since he retired in the 80s. And he helped me assemble my transmission and motor and time my motor. He taught me a lot on that. He emailed me 2 nights ago and he goes, "Are you a member of the MVPA?" And I'm like, "No, it's not that I don't want to be. It's just that my financial responsibilities are elsewhere." So he signed me up. So
Nice.
now I know there's a Finley show coming up in Ohio. And then Mario Mapid said they're going to get something together in Louisville, Kentucky in October. So I would definitely like to attend the Finley show and the Louisville show in October.
Hey, just so you know, it's Louisville.
Oh, Louisville.
Louisville. Don't call it Louisville. Don't go into Louisville and say, "Hey, I'm trying to find the Louisville this," and they'll look at you like, and they'll probably rob you. So
yeah, probably rob you.
well, MVPA is it's in early June in South Bend. So it was a good show last year. I enjoyed it.
Good.
And plan to go back this coming year, and the one after that's Des Moines. And you could get a pretty quick return on your investment there in a couple of days, and also get to meet people in person and things like that. So yeah,
our end goal would be to be able to go to as many shows as possible. The downside to that is, with my career is very demanding in the fire service, and with COVID, we've been working an exceptional amount of extra hours, covering down on people that are sick and whatnot. So our vacation has to be scheduled November prior to the next year.
Right.
Next year I'll try to pre-plan, or this year I'll try to pre-plan more for next year so we can try to get to these events. But I really want to get out there. I want to meet the customers personally. I want to get our products out there, and I want to hear your guys' story. I mean, I really enjoy talking to people about their projects and their Jeeps and their military vehicles, and just the passion and enthusiasm. I get more excited over that and boxing up a part, and hey man, this is going to go on his truck, and one day I'm going to see his truck and I'm going to say, hey, that part came from us and it works, and that really keeps me going and really excited. That's one of the reasons why I started to refurb some of these oil housings. Was they're originals. Some of them are late to post-war. This one has a military on it, but I said, you know what, like, they don't leak. I'll paint them up and I'll let you put the stickers on it, and you can have yourself a nice oil filter, and you don't have to sandblast your wire wheel. It's already done and painted black. And so I started to do that with a couple of these, and I started to work on some other stuff. I really don't have much in here, but that's what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to start refurbing parts and selling them as refurbs. And then if people want the rusty parts, that's fine too. I'll sell you, if you have a sandblaster at your house, hey, more power to you, man.
Right.
Less to do. But
cool.
I think it's always nice to get an original product. They were made here in America, and I think they're still going to last. I mean, our projects, our Jeeps and our trucks aren't sitting outside like these vehicles did for 60 years till we found them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think these parts are going to last a long time because people are going to take care of them more. They appreciate them more.
Yeah, Steve Art said that in his interview at his work at Vintage Power Wagons, he talks to new people every single day.
Yeah,
he's never had any contact with. Of course, he talks to a lot of the same people.
Yeah,
here and there, but he says there's always somebody new out there that he's dealing with every single day, and that's what makes it fun and interesting. The reason I started this channel is really just to talk about my Jeep, although actually the talk side of it has taken over more, because I think people just want to meet others in the business that they may not get to know, as well as just conversation about military vehicles.
Absolutely.
Just like kind of like a podcast sort of thing.
Yeah.
So.
I'm really enjoying this. I'm glad you're doing this. And we were thrilled when you said, I said, man, I got to find some time, because this is what I enjoy doing. I mean, I love my civilian job, don't get me wrong. But I have a true passion for this.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see a beautiful vehicle that's restored, I'm like, man, I know the effort that one puts into something, and the money and time, and I'm really proud of people's restorations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've got a guy who we're trying to get it scheduled right now, who actually had somebody T-bone his Jeep.
Oh, okay.
And just talk about that whole experience. So I'm excited to kind of share his experience of having kind of a worst case scenario happen on your project.
Is he okay? Is he okay?
Yeah. It was like at an intersection in town.
Okay.
He was doing like a left turn or something, and somebody just T-boned him.
T-boned him. Yeah.
I think it was on the passenger side, but
is he able to save the Jeep, to salvage the Jeep?
Yeah, he's got it back together now. So I just kind of want to go through that whole process with him.
Absolutely.
Of the accident and insurance, and because then there's a question: do you let somebody else fix it? Do you fix it? Things like that. So I think it's gonna be a good episode.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Although he's not a big technology guy, so okay. Well, hey, I think anything else you guys want to add before we wrap it up? We have another part there.
I think we've hit the nail on the head as far as General Taylor's go. It's General Taylor's Motorpool and Surplus, and this is the General. This is Taylor. I'm Derek, and I might be the face that you see on our YouTube videos or our sales videos, but Taylor is truly the general of the operation. She runs the show. I'm just the face. So when I report to my boss, it's her. So she is the general.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of funny though, when people do say, hey, I gotta confirm with my wife, is this okay? And she's kind of snickering in the background. She goes, if he only knew who he was talking to. So,
or as many times as customers say, sir.
Yeah, sir.
Like, okay.
But they never know who they're talking to. They never know if they're talking to Taylor or me. 90% of the time, you're talking to her. Like I jumped on the day and conversed with you for a little bit. Said, hey, I'm getting on here soon, and
we try and divvy up.
We try to divvy it up.
Converse with.
But most of the time, when you're messaging General Taylor's, you're talking to Taylor, because I'm either boxing parts up, sorting parts, refurbishing parts, or trying to find pieces to make it complete kits.
That's overwhelming enough. So add on communicating with all these wish lists.
Yeah. So we ran all these M series heater kits, and nothing is together. So we're literally trying to piece these heater kits together, and it's so much work. But we're hoping to have some complete vent kits for people for their M series stuff.
Oh, that's great.
So, and they're new old stock. So that doesn't mean that there are scratches in the paint. That's a little disclaimer I say. There are dings and dents and scratches, but they were still an NOS part. So I know we're going to sell them as NOS. But yeah, we're trying. I mean, behind this camera is a room full of heater parts. and we've taken our children's playroom and turned it into a sorting
room,
center. So
well, they can play with heater parts. That's okay.
yeah, heck yeah, it's fun, right?
You know, at this point, the little one has no rules,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
why not?
We give the little one a wrench. He can turn a wrench on the Jeep with Dad. And he's only 2, so
Perfect.
And that's the other thing is, I'd like to tell people, hey, if you have children or grandchildren, please get them involved in this hobby. Seriously, because the hobby has to keep going. So please get your children involved and your grandkids. My 2-year-old literally helps me fill my tires up on my Jeep and check the tire pressure with the gauge, and he's knee high. My 4-year-old, he can run an impact gun. Literally, he's running an impact gun and taking bolts off and help me out. And get your kids involved with these projects. Get them interested in it now. And when you plant that seed in them young, trust me, it's going to blossom like a flower. And when they're older, they're going to say, hey, I want to work on a vehicle like Dad did or like Granddad did. And that's one of the advice I can give you guys is out there is get your children and your grandkids and your nieces and nephews involved in your projects. I know it's a little bit extra work, but trust me, the seed you're instilling in them, it's going to blossom down the road, and they're going to love these vehicles just as much as you for having you do that. So
great. Hey, on that note, why don't we go ahead and wrap this up? Hey, I appreciate Derek and Taylor. I thought you guys were like brothers. Seriously, I thought it was like two brothers running this.
Derek, and this is Taylor. This is my wife.
Yeah. So I guess that's been dispelled. Pretty. She's clearly not a brother. So hey, thanks.
Sometimes it feels like it, but you know what? It makes it fun though, because it does catch people off guard.
That's right. So and so I guess whenever I contact you guys, I'll just say SMAM rather than
Derek's been dealing with you mainly, so you're good because it goes around his schedule. So
yeah, I deal with whoever I can.
We look at if it's easy, we divvy it up. So you're good.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, thanks for calling in. Thanks for watching this.
Thanks for your time, Tim. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Peep Show. And I will catch you guys on the next one.